My name is Lydia Peters. I'm 36 years old. And at my parents' 40th anniversary party, in front of 38 guests, my mother looked me dead in the eyes and said, "Look at this worthless cancer patient. We sold your house and locked you in that nursing home because you're nothing but a pathetic burden on this family." She thought tonight would be another night of humiliating their broken daughter. She was dead wrong. The restaurant smelled like expensive wine and fresh flowers. Riverside Manor, private dining room, white tablecloths, crystal glasses catching chandelier light. 38 people dressed in their Sunday best. My parents' world. Family, church friends, neighbors, Pastor Allen. Everyone who mattered to them. Everyone except me. I wasn't invited. I parked on the street because I couldn't afford valet. My 2015 Honda Civic looked out of place next to the Mercedes sedans lining the circular drive. I sat for a moment, hands on the wheel, looking at the black box on my passenger seat. 9 by 6 inches matte black silver ribbon. Inside a Bluetooth speaker, a USB drive, and printed documents that would end everything. My phone buzzed. Laura Hicks, my attorney. Police ET 815. Are you ready? It was 7:52. Ready. 3 years ago I was 33. I lived alone in Elmwood, in a 1,480 square foot bungalow my grandmother Helen had left me when she died. No mortgage. Paid off. Mine. I worked as a freelance graphic designer, making $89,000 a year. Small life, but it was mine. The lump appeared in May. I found it in the shower. 3 weeks of denial before I called my doctor. Then the call came. Dr. Judith Brennan, calm and professional. "Lydia, I need you to come in. Invasive ductal carcinoma. Stage 2. 6 rounds of chemotherapy. Surgery. 6 weeks of radiation. 10 months start to finish." I called my mother without thinking. "I have cancer." Silence. Then, "Oh honey, don't worry. We'll take care of everything." At the time I thought she meant groceries and appointments. I had no idea what she actually meant. My first chemo infusion was June 8th. My parents insisted on being there. They held my hand, brought snacks, told me I was brave. For days later, when I was too sick to fight anything, Mom suggested I move into their guest room. It made sense. I was vomiting every 20 minutes. I agreed. Then came the paperwork. Dad brought it to the guest room on June 23rd. Power of attorney. Medical and financial. Standard stuff. If something happens during surgery, we can step in. There was a notary there, Jennifer, a friend of Mom's from church. She smiled sympathetically while I signed. I was exhausted, scared, and my hair was already thinning. I trusted them completely. That trust was the most expensive mistake of my life. By cycle 3 of chemo, I was at my worst. The drugs were destroying me. Mouth sores, neuropathy, bone pain, 20 hours a day in bed. Mom brought protein shakes. Dad handled everything, bills, mail, all of it. On August 12th, I was half awake when I heard Dad in the hallway. "Yes, I have power of attorney. She's in treatment, unable to manage. Yes, I can sign on her behalf." I was too fogged to process it. The chemo brain was like wading through wet concrete. 3 days later, my house went on the market. I didn't know. They listed it at $375,000, already under value. A motivated seller discount. It sold in 8 days for $365,000. My grandmother's house. The one she'd worked her whole life to pay off. The one she'd left to me because I was the one who visited every Sunday, brought groceries, sat with her while she was dying. Gone. My father signed all the paperwork using power of attorney. Closing date. August 29, 2023. I was in bed vomiting when they signed away my home. The house sale netted $356,700 after costs. They transferred my $43,000 savings account next. Total in their control, $399,700. Then they wired $180,000 to Las Vegas. Not for medical bills. For my brother Owen's gambling debts. Casino markers at 3 different venues. Threats of legal action. His credit destroyed. Their text messages, obtained later through legal subpoena, told it plainly. Lydia doesn't need to know, right, Dad? She'll never know. $95,000 went into their retirement investment account. $37,000 went to Meadowbrook Care Residence as a deposit. for the nursing home they were about to put me in. On September 15, 2023, they admitted me to room 218. My roommate was Agnes Kowalski, 82, advanced dementia. She spent most of the day staring at the wall or calling for her dead husband. I was 33 years old. They took my phone. Said screen time was making my confusion worse. My friends tried to visit. Monica, my best friend of 12 years, called the facility. They told her to contact my family for approval. She never got through. My clients canceled. My business died slowly in silence. The staff treated me like I belonged there. Good morning, Lydia. Time for breakfast. Do you need help getting dressed? Like I was a toddler. Like I had dementia. Because that's what my parents had told them. Agnes screamed at night. Called for her husband who'd been dead 30 years. And I lay in the other bed. Cancer sick but mentally sharp, trapped. Final radiation session. March 8, 2024. When you finish cancer treatment, you ring a bell. Other patients clap. Staff celebrates. I rang the bell. People clapped. I cried, not from joy, from fear. Because I was cancer-free and I was still in room 218. Dr. Brennan pulled me aside. Lydia, are you being held in that facility against your will? I don't know. They say I'm not ready. But I feel ready. Feel fine. She wrote in my chart. Ms. Peters is fully recovered, mentally competent, and medically cleared for independent living. Then she looked at me and said, I've been a doctor 30 years. I know abuse when I see it. What's happening to you is abuse. On April 12th, I demanded a discharge meeting. I sat across from my parents and the social worker. I asked about my house. Mom said, we sold it during your treatment. Remember we discussed it? We did not discuss it. Show me my signature. We don't have to show you anything. I asked where the $365,000 was. Medical bills, Dad said. Over $200,000. Plus the facility, $64,000. The money's gone. I knew the math was wrong. Even through the shock I knew. Then I revoke your power of attorney, I said. Right now, in front of this social worker. Effective immediately. Mom went white. The next day I was discharged. My parents threatened lawsuits, claimed I was unstable, pushed for conservatorship. But Dr. Brennan's documentation held. The facility psychiatrist confirmed I was fully competent. The director made her decision. If we keep her here against her will, that's false imprisonment. I left with 2 bags of clothes and $0. A nurse named Katie drove me to Haven House, a shelter for abuse survivors. Haven House connected me with legal aid. On April 20th, I met Laura Hicks, 51 years old. Sharp eyes. 20 years in elder and disability abuse cases. I told her everything. She leaned back. Lydia, this is criminal exploitation of a vulnerable adult. That's a felony. I want them prosecuted. Then let's get to work. Bank records. Medical records. Facility admission forms where my parents had lied, claiming cognitive impairment I never had. Psychiatric evaluations confirming my full competency. And the recordings. Back in March, a housekeeper at Meadowbrook named Rosa had slipped me her phone. I called my parents and recorded 47 minutes of conversation. Mom's voice. How long can we keep her in that nursing home? Dad, as long as we want. We have power of attorney. Mom. What if she makes trouble? Dad, we can petition for conservatorship. Say the cancer affected her brain. All of it. Admissible. Criminal charges were filed January 15, 2025. Exploitation of a vulnerable adult. Theft over $100,000. Fraud. False imprisonment. Forgery. All felonies. The jury deliberated 3 hours. Guilty. All counts. Sentencing. April 5, 2026. My father received 18 months federal prison. My mother 15. Owen pleaded guilty to accessory charges, 12 months probation, 200 hours community service, and he had to repay $180,000. Civil judgment. $850,000. Their house sold. Retirement account seized. Every asset liquidated. But they filed an appeal. Got bail. Which meant they were free. Free to plan their anniversary party. I walked into Riverside Manor at 7:54 p.m. The hostess looked uncertain. Are you on the list? I'm their daughter. I walked past before she could argue. The room noticed me immediately. Conversations faltered. Aunt Beverly's hand went to her mouth. Mom's face moved through shock, confusion, rage. All in 2 seconds. Dad stood up. What are you doing here? It's a family celebration. I'm family. I placed the black box on the gift table. Then Mom stood, champagne flushed, and addressed the room. Our daughter has been unwell. Cancer treatment was very hard on her mentally. I'm cancer-free, I said. Have been for 2 years. Her laugh was sharp. Physically, maybe. But mentally, she tapped her temple. The treatment damaged her judgment. You did steal from me. And then she said it. Loud enough for the whole room to hear. Look at this worthless cancer patient. We sold your house and locked you in that nursing home because you're nothing but a pathetic burden on this family. I reached into my pocket and held up my phone. The recording app glowed red. Thank you, Mom, for saying that in front of 38 witnesses. Because this phone has been recording since I walked in. The blood drained from her face. I opened the black box, connected the Bluetooth speaker and pressed play. Her own voice filled the room. She was a burden. Useless. We used that house money to save Owen because he's worth saving. Lydia, she's nothing. The room exploded. Aunt Beverly burst into tears. Pastor Allen stood and backed away. A neighbor shouted. Owen tried to slip toward the exit. Trevor's sister Claire, who I'd invited specifically, blocked his way. I held up the printed documents. Court verdict March 15, 2026. Guilty on all counts. Sentencing order April 5. 18 months for Dad. 15 for Mom. Restitution. $850,000. Then Dr. Brennan stood. She walked forward and addressed the room. I'm Lydia's oncologist. I treated her through 6 months of chemotherapy, surgery, and radiation. She was never incompetent. She was never confused. She was cancer sick, not brain damaged. What these people did is criminal. And I'm glad they're finally facing consequences. The door opened. Laura Hicks walked in, briefcase in hand. Behind her, Detective Sarah Ramos and 2 uniformed officers. Sandra Peters. Eugene Peters. You violated your bail conditions. You harassed and publicly humiliated your victim. You admitted to crimes in front of witnesses. Your bail is revoked. This is ridiculous, Dad started. Turn around. Hands behind your back. The click of handcuffs echoed through the silent room. Mom started screaming. Lydia did this. She's destroying this family. I walked close enough that she could see my face clearly. You destroyed me first. Quiet. Calm. 3 years ago, while I was bald and vomiting and terrified, you sold my house. You stole my savings. You locked me in a nursing home and told everyone I was crazy. You killed my business. Also, you could pay Owen's gambling debts and fund your retirement. Tonight, you confessed to all of it in front of 38 people. I just made sure it was recorded because unlike you, I have evidence. I have proof. I have witnesses. They led my parents toward the door. At the head table, Amber, Owen's girlfriend, quietly removed her engagement ring, slid it across the table and walked out. Owen sat alone, head in his hands. My parents were released from prison in early 2029 for good behavior. They moved to Arizona. Sent 1 letter. Maybe an apology. Maybe an excuse. I never opened it. Owen is sober now. Working. He sent a letter apologizing. I acknowledged it but didn't respond beyond that. I bought a house in March 2027. 3 bedrooms, quiet neighborhood, $285,000. No mortgage. Mine. I started a nonprofit called Survivor Shield. The mission: protect vulnerable adults from financial abuse during medical crisis. Free legal consultations, power of attorney reviews, medical advocacy support groups. In our first year, we helped 23 families, recovered $85,000 in stolen assets, reviewed over 150 powers of attorney, and referred 8 cases to law enforcement. In April 2031, Dr. Brennan tells me my 5-year scan is clean. Lydia Peters, she says, smiling. 5 years. I'm so proud of you. You saved your own life twice, she says. First from cancer, then from abuse. You're one of the strongest people I've ever met. I didn't feel strong back then. Maybe that's the point. You don't have to feel strong to be strong. Here's what abusers don't want you to know. Power of attorney can be revoked. Competency can be proven. Assets can be recovered. And abusers can be prosecuted. If you're going through a medical crisis and something feels wrong with how your finances are being handled, trust that instinct. You're not crazy. You're not incompetent. And you are not alone. My name is Lydia Peters. I'm 41 years old. I'm a cancer survivor, an abuse survivor, a business owner, and a nonprofit founder. I'm not broken. I never was. And if you needed to hear that, neither are you.